Welcome to Backstage with the Baronsmen, a deep dive into the inner workings of a historical theater company in Austin, Texas. In this episode, we'll discuss the ins and outs of creating unique and relatable characters on stage. Sometimes that is only one character, other times it's multiple. Our guest today is Miss Leanna Holmquist, a longtime sharer of the Baronsmen with tons of experience creating these memorable characters. In 2019, she played the lovely Rosaline in Love Sleepers Lost, and then a complete 180 playing a man/assassin in Macbeth. Before COVID-19 hit, she was slated to perform in Merry Wives of Windsor as Dr. Caius. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Yay! So I'm going to start off real quick. So Leanna, how long have you been with the Baronsmen? And just an estimate, or if you know the precise number, how many characters have you created during that time with the Baronsmen?
Baronsmen, I've been with the Baronsmen about 7 years, and I was just trying to count in my resume here. I think 11 characters.
Wow.
Yeah. Something like
That's insane.
Yeah. 10, 11.
So that's cool too. Like, and that's, so that is probably then 11 productions too. Like that's how many, God, that's insane.
Oh yeah, I didn't even actually count if I played more than one character in a production, but yeah, that's about right. That's right.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Cool.
So how do you approach creating a character? Because, I mean, especially when you're doing multiple characters and everything, you have to make them both unique and stand out so that people aren't confused when you come back on stage as someone else. So what is your approach to that?
Well, yeah, that's a real good question. First I have to figure out who each person is, and then I build from that what I think are distinctive differentiators. Like if one character is a murderous assassin, for example, and another one is like a maid, I have to think about each of their motivations, and trying to communicate that is the big thing, because it involves, not just your choice of words, and your tone of voice and your delivery, but also your body language, your facial expression, your costume, the way you move. It's you have to think about developing everything that speaks to the way you've interpreted your character. Otherwise, people will just think that, oh, hey, that's that same actor who was playing a guy, but now she's in a dress. You don't want that. You hope to build the image of two completely different people, and it's not always easy, especially if you're kind of close for some reason, like a guard and a soldier, like they seem like a little close. So it comes down to the details a lot. You might do something different with your physicality, or you might do something different with your voice, or wear your hair different, or change, jut your jaw out or something. It comes down to just how can you really make sure that you as an actor are trying hard and not cheating, trying hard to really make something different, give due to each character. Because when Shakespeare wrote those characters, he didn't hope that some person was going to be like, I don't really care what the difference is between these characters. It's like you want to pay homage to what the intention is, and that's like each of these are individual people with individual personalities and individual backstories and individual everything. So you as an actor try to put that energy into each character as much as you can.
So to tag on to that, having worked with you during Macbeth, for your character of Satan, you had a very unique way of approaching that. Can you talk about that real quick?
Yeah. Oh boy, that was a challenge. It was really my first time. I had played a couple of male roles before that, but they weren't really roles that I had been able to invest in, because they were like quite a while ago, and I hadn't really worked too much as an actor. And so I was like doing the usual things, like lower my voice. But I didn't, I'd had enough experience to this point that I wanted to try to push myself to really not just go out there as a girl trying to make my voice deeper, but do more than that to develop a character that was convincingly male. So, you know, I started with just the physicality, because I knew that as a woman, you know, you kind of swing your hips a little when you walk, and, you know, you've got your feminine things that you do. And I wanted to talk my body out of those things for that character. And so I actually went as far as to videotape myself walking, or, you know, shoot video of myself walking to see what kind of female things I did. And then I actually went to the mall one day and just stood there and watched men walk for quite a while. And then you can ask Bradley in rehearsal one day, I saw Bradley, because Bradley he's like a guy, you know what I mean? Like he's got muscles, and he's like, you know, he walks confidently. And I was like, this is the kind of walk I want. So I started following Bradley around rehearsal one day, just trying to walk like him. And I did a lot of that. And I shot video of him to study his walk and his gait. And then just down to the stance, you know, I want to kind of stand with my hip cocked and, you know, like a girl, but can't do that. And so I tried to study every single aspect. I even did things with my face. I kind of jutted my bottom, you know, lip out a little bit to kind of make myself look a little meaner or angrier. And honestly, I didn't do too much with my voice. I kind of used my normal, you know, female lower register, but I wasn't going to go like this, because I think that would take people out of it.
Yeah.
And then I've never done so much makeup experimenting in my life, but I researched all these tutorials online on how to do male facial makeup. And I created like facial hair, and, you know, had my hair pulled back into like this male kind of type ponytail thing. And it's amazing. I think that's the most work I've ever done for a role. I even cried one day. I was like, I can't do this. I started crying, and that, because I just was like, I don't know if I'll ever get this. But one day I felt like it clicked, and I don't feel like, I know I didn't give the most amazing performance in the world, but for me, I feel like it was one of my personal best attempts to really do something challenging, and really involved every aspect of it, and not like overlook any little detail, and not just phone it in. So I was very happy with my work. I was happy with the work I did, but it was a lot of work, but it was worth it, because it was such a great learning experience.
Well, I can say that I was very happy with your work. Like, can we just be the director of the show? But like, and also being an actress, like I love seeing people put that sort of investment into a character. And to me, that's what is so fun about being an actor, actress, whatever, is that it's not only just superficial outside stuff, it's the psyche. It's then looking at, I love that. I mean, now after retrospect, after everything is done, hearing your process, I'm even more just wow, because it showed, it made, you know, people, when you have that energy and that stance, people's eyes go to that. And that's something that's huge. And then, I mean, you kind of answered our next question yeah, when you have to play a man. I mean, it's crazy. Guys don't have to play women very often. It's usually us women who have to play men, because, you know, there's a lot of times not enough women's roles, or vice versa, and all this crazy stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I looked at, like, I was lucky enough to start being able to do Merry Wives with you, and you bringing Dr. Caius, and then just coming off of, you know, playing Satan and Macbeth. Like, it was really cool to see this whole different type of version of a man. I mean, and I think, to me, that's what's the funnest thing of acting, is you get to just experiment, and it does take work. I mean, yeah, could you, like you said, just lower your voice and do this? Sure. But to really make it believable, and that's, you know, I think I played a guy in As You Like It, and our local paper took a picture. I was in the paper. I didn't recognize myself. And then I was like, oh, that's me, because I had like the beret and I had facial hair, and that to me is what's so, like, that's the cherry on top as an actor, is when you don't recognize yourself, or people are like, whoa, wow. And that, I think you achieve that. So
yeah, it was also, I think, an example of, you know, you hear people say there are no small roles, only small actors. That role, Satan,
yes.
very small, very few lines. There were a lot of scenes where I just kind of stood and was sort of background, but that didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was, because you can't know when someone's looking at you, but more importantly, as an actor, you want to be true to the craft as much as you can. So I didn't care how big or small the role was. I really wanted it to develop it in a convincing and a thorough, way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome.
I was
So-
real pleased.
I thought I overheard you in the dressing room one day talking about how you were watching a particular show, and
Yes.
you were like, that's who Satan is.
Yep. I was watching the Borgias, and that was your recommendation, Jackie.
That's right. I remember that.
I don't know if you remember, but this was actually very, very early in the process. We had just been cast and just had our first read through, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you and I were chatting on the couch, and you were like, "Have you ever seen the Borgias?" And I hadn't. And you said, "There's a really good villain assassin character in that show. You should check it out." So I did, and I was like, "Wow, that guy, he was fantastic, and he was a big inspiration for what is his name?
I know he's in I just watched this show. It's on Netflix. I tell everyone should watch it. It's amazing. It's The King. It's based on Henry V, but he's in it. And he's so good. I forget who he plays in it. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to find the guy's name. But he was so, and you brought that. I mean, you brought that to the stage. There was this, I could see you in the shadows, and I could see this lurking and this whole thing. And that's how that actor did a lot of his stuff. He was very subtle, but he was intimidating. There is this scene where he kills someone with a wire, and he just was like, done.
Yeah, and that was the thing with, I loved his intensity. He also doesn't talk a whole lot. He's a man of few words, mostly just, takes orders and goes around and kills people. But he is so intense. Even when he's not talking, he just exudes this sinister, you're just scared looking at the guy. And I was like, that is the kind of intensity I want to bring to this, this murderer in this play. And I'm blanking on his name and his character's name at the moment. It's been a while since I watched it, but he was an inspiration to the point where I even copied his makeup after a while. There was this great scene. I noticed he didn't use the makeup every show, but there was this one cool scene where he had this great red makeup around his eyes, and I was like, that's it, because it made him look even more exhausted and just desperate, and I don't care who's in my way, I'm gonna cut all your heads off, kind of thing. And I was like, so I copied his makeup, and I was like, that guy was that was critical for me to have that sort of as a resource. It was really good. Yeah.
Cool. So how did you do Dr. Caius then? I know we're getting off subject, but you go from that to Dr. Caius and Merry Wives. I mean, because the same thing.
Yeah, I think that brought me a lot of confidence. Being able to play a male character in Macbeth brought me a lot of confidence to be able to just play male characters in general. Yeah. And I loved it. It was comic, and I loved that he has a French accent. I love dialects, and I just thought, this funny French dude would be just so much fun to play. And I'm sad the COVID thing happened and we didn't get to do it, but I just was very excited about that role. Maybe
same here. I was just like, that was COVID.
It's always fun whenever you get to have somebody who has an accent of some sort, because you commit.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, you're a winner.
I do. I did this with A Winter's Tale as well. I get the script, and every single syllable is written out phonetically in a French dialect. Wow. And these two happen to be sort of over the top French dialect, which was, because they're comic characters, and that made it even more fun. But I structured the dialect the way I want it to be, and every single syllable of my lines was written out in French dialect, and I rehearsed them that way so that I could get it in my head correctly. So there's a lot of work that went into that as well. But a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
It's awesome.
So yeah, maybe someday I'll get to play Caius, I hope. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to play those.
It's fun. Merry Wives of Windsor.
Exactly. All right.
Well, you kind of already answered, unless your answer is different, what is the most challenging character you played? You said that with Satan, because it was the first male character you played, there was a lot, wasn't as easy to just slide into the character.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you could think of?
Yeah, let me think about this. Let me look through these things here.
I mean, you did a really great character in the Spanish tragedy where you had, it's been a while since we've done that. Was 2013, I want to say it was.
Yeah, it was like 2013, 2014, I
It's been a
think.
while. We've slept a little bit since then. So I don't remember that character really saying a whole lot, if anything. It was just that you had to have that presence and everything. And how do you, I mean, you were on stage for what, the entire show?
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe one or two scenes?
I was.
So,
yeah, and that was definitely a lesson in being present. You know, speaking of presence, it's a lesson in being present because you, again, there are no small roles, only small actors. So even though I might be there not talking, I'm there as for a reason. I'm there as part of, you know, keeping people involved and engrossed. And if I decide to slack off because I think no one's watching me, then that takes everybody, all the audience out of the scene because they see me slacking off. So it's a great lesson. I mean, actors need to know this as well. They don't need to only learn, you know, how to be like in front of everyone and be like the center of attention, but we spend a lot of time in the background sometimes, but it's just as critical because we're part of the whole picture. So yeah, that was like, you have to be intentional, you know, you have to be part of the scene and involved, even if you're not speaking, you know, reacting and doing, when I went to see a production of, I think it might've been Macbeth also at another company. And I was just drawn to this woman in the background because, you know, she was just so present and involved. And some of the other folks were like, nobody's really watching me, but you could tell she was like there. And I was like, that's, you know, that's the way you do it. It doesn't seem exciting, but you make it exciting because that you gotta do the work, whether you're out in the front part or out in the back part, or, you know, because you're gonna be in all parts hopefully at some point.
The
so
energy too.
Yeah, exactly. One of the I'll just tell you quickly, one of the funner is not really weird, but more interesting roles I played was Danya Giovanna. I played Don John in Much Ado. That's supposed to, well, it's written as a male role, but I played it as a woman. So in this case, I wasn't playing a man like Satan. I was actually playing the villain as a woman. And it actually changed a lot of things as far as the text goes. If you look at the text from the perspective of a villainous, you know, male, it's fairly straightforward the way Shakespeare wrote it. But if you're playing it from a villainous female's point of view, there are these cool nuances that you can bring to the script and to the character that are very interesting. And I think it was like one of my first like villain roles, but in a way, Don John is also kind of comic. So it was, I tried to play that complexity where she was a villain, but she was also kind of funny or fun to watch. And so that was a complex character too, especially because of the gender switching bit of it and making intentional choices to make it make sense as a woman. But that was a very good lesson in acting as well. And it was very enjoyable because I liked the things, you know, that I found, especially like interacting with other women when I was, you know, interacting with Hero, or, you know, it's different, you know, if you're a woman or if you're a guy who's being mean to a woman, it's like, oh, that guy is being mean to that woman. But if you're a woman being mean to a woman, it's like very stabby. You know, it's like, I don't know, there's a different kind of thing, the way women are like mean to each other, you know what I mean? So it was like, I don't know, kind of fun.
No one can cut like a woman.
It's kind of fun to discover that stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. I mean, yeah. Oh, sorry, Lee.
Sorry. So yeah, I mean, a lot of my acting career, I've had the opportunity to be the lead actor in several productions, and I've had and as well as the side characters, and then characters that really have like one or two lines. And I have always said the hardest acting that I ever did is when I don't have a single thing to say and you have to sell it.
Yeah.
But like you have to show that you're invested in everything. So I actually have told many people when they were like, oh my God, what do you do to become an actor and stuff like that? I was like, well, instead of shooting for the stars and getting like the big roles and the meaty roles and stuff like that, you need to pay your dues and start at doing the characters that have no lines and everything. Because if you can do that, by the time you get up to where you have a ton of lines and everything, you already got that flow going and everything, and you can sell it. So
my very first show with the Berensmen, I had 0 lines.
What show was that?
Yep, I had 0 lines. I played several walk-on, walk-off type characters because, as you know, it's a series of vignettes, right? So, and I had no lines at all.
We totally flew you in on that one.
That's right.
We lifted you up and made you fly like a ghost,
yes,
or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost. Yeah,
yeah, that was fun.
It was really a great show. Great fun.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you would like? A character you would love to play?
Boy, is
I
that
guess maybe bucket list or just what now?
Dr. Caius now.
Yeah.
I almost got to play him. I'm so excited. I was so excited to play that character.
No.
Maybe we'll do it again. Or do it for the first time in the future.
Yeah. Who knows?
Let's see. Other than Dr. Caius, I don't know. I haven't really given it that much thought.
Do you prefer comedy or drama? Also,
I have to admit, I prefer comedy just because I love funny things and I want to be funny and be involved with funny people and do funny things. So I prefer comedy. But I love all of Shakespeare. It's all fantastic stuff. So yeah, but comedy is just like. The whole spirit of the thing and the troupe is all always in this happy, upbeat, funny mood. How can I make this funnier? How can I bring some more joy or comedy to this thing? It's just I don't know, it's a fun environment. But all of Shakespeare is fantastic, of course.
I could totally see you in a comedy of errors as pretty much any of the ladies.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Inspired casting. Bianca in Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, really?
Sister.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, I could totally see you as Bianca because she's usually portrayed as a dimwit. But she's really not. She has to be whip smart to keep up with her sister.
Yes.
And she's not dead, so obviously she's keeping up with her sister.
Right.
So I could definitely see you playing that kind of role.
Okay. Well, I'll keep my eyes open. See what happens.
Anything else, Jackie?
I'm trying to think of I love this. This is very, love directing, but I also love acting. And this is the stuff that I love, is really talking craft. And I'm always curious how people get to their character, and every actor is different. Some people, what did I hear this thing of? I think it was Robert Duvall, he'll be joking, doing whatever, and then they call action, boom. And that's the way he works. But then you have other actors that are no, don't bother me. I'm in my zone. I'm in my, my method or whatever. Yeah. I think it's
The Walking Dead.
Yes.
In character.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't mess with
So I love that. I'm just so grateful that I got to work with you in Macbeth and Love's Labor.
That was really a thrill too. And it makes a difference, who you're working with, which is, I'm not trying to advertise or anything, but it is one of the reasons why I like working with the Berensmen, because all my friends are there. And it's always such a great, comfortable, happy, I'm working with my friends, we're having a good time kind of situation. And I'm not a kind of person that will just do a play to do a play. If there's folks involved that I'm they're not really people I like that much, then I won't. Part of the reason I do this is so I can hang out with my friends and the people that I like, and that to be around.
It's so true.
That's social thing. So that's
all I got. What you got, Lee?
So I do have a question. Would you consider yourself a method actor?
Oh, that is a good question, isn't it?
Because for some roles, some of the shows that we've been in together, I've seen you to where you're kind of like that Robert Duvall kind of guy, where it's like snappy, fun, in between scenes. But then when you go on, you're on. But then there's other ones I've seen you where you're in the focus, you're in the zone, and you kind of stay in that character and everything. So is that something that you consciously do, or is it something that is just like depends on how comfortable you are in the role?
I think that's exactly it right there. My position is that it depends on how comfortable I am in the role. You know, playing Satan, where I was really focusing hard on doing something so challenging, and not, you know, for a while there feeling like I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do it. You know, I had to really stay focused and stay male and constantly think about what my body was doing and making sure I wasn't doing any feminine stuff with my hands, you know, like, so in that situation, I would definitely, I could see myself being more focused. But if I, you know, in a situation where I've played several like ladies, for example, I'm fairly comfortable playing a lady, meaning like not a lady like a woman lady, but a lady like of rank and, you know, like a duchess or queen or something. And so if I'm in that kind of role, which I'm fairly comfortable with, then I'm probably a little more lighthearted because I don't feel like so panicked about, you know, going on stage and portraying the character. So I'd say definitely it has to do with that. Yeah.
I feel you. In 12? I think it was 2012 when we did 12th Night, and I played Mariah. And I remember the first couple of nights, like once we moved in and started doing full runs and everything, I would be backstage and I would be kind of like joking around with a couple of the actors, including Aaron, who was playing Malvolio, and our characters were very antagonistic towards each other. And a lot of times I was doing like that chicken neck thing, like an attitude and stuff like that. And I would have to I caught myself almost doing it on stage. So like after that, I would actually no chicken head, no chicken head. So, yeah, whenever you have to do a certain thing, especially when we're doing period theater, you have to really think about, they didn't have chicken head back then.
Right.
And so you had to portray yourself in that manner because that's what we do. And it's like, okay, this character would not have that much attitude. You have to remember that. So I get you. Sometimes it's easy to go between and like turn it on and turn it off. But then other times it's like, whoo, focus.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So anything else that you'd like to add? Like, if you could tell a new actor one thing that has helped you the most to get where you are and be successful in creating these characters, what would you say to them?
Yeah, don't overlook the details, and don't take any of the aspects of the character for granted, because every bit of the character that you can use to inform your acting just makes you better and makes you more convincing in the role. So it's, I guess when I first started out acting, I didn't really think much about the detail work. I just more thought about, okay, get the lines in the head and then make them come out of the mouth. And that's really all you need to do. But it's not, it's, you know, as I've learned more, it's not just that. You really develop the details. If the person has some kind of, you know, tick, or if the person has some kind of certain walk. I mean, these are things I didn't think about when I was starting out, but I'm, you know, realizing now how much more you can really make your character convincing and develop it. So that would be my advice, is look for the details, either in the script or in the characterization that you've created for your person, and really work to bring those details out as well, and not just take the lines and, you know, make it, you know.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Miss Leanna, for being here with us. I think we're going to be doing a series of these and talking to some other folks in the troupe that have different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
And hopefully anybody who comes to our show or one of these podcasts and listens to it or watches it on YouTube will be able to go like, oh, okay, that's how they're doing it, and maybe take something away from it. So thank you so much for sharing your process with us.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to me.
And thank you, audience members, for joining us again this time around. We will be back again shortly, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye, guys.